Welcome to the Holistic Wealth and Health Podcast. Your co-hosts, Jason Smith and Bryan Bibbo, will inspire and teach you how to prosper in your mind, body, and spirit, not just your financial life. Joining forces with field experts, Jason and Bryan are here to help you focus on what matters most in your life, living well.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the J.L. Smith Holistic Wealth and Health Podcast. Today, I'm excited to have Artie G here, owner and personal fitness trainer at Synergy Senior Fitness, who provides senior fitness programs, exercising for the maturing body via live classes in person and also virtually on Facebook. Author of Because You Have a Bucket List, Realize Your Dreams Through Senior-Centric Exercises. Artie, very excited to have you here today. And I'm excited to talk about what you specialize in, and that's senior exercising, how to transform their lives, make it better, and to make sure they check all of the things off of their bucket plan. So glad you're here today.
Thank you, Bryan, for having me.
Tell me a little bit about that backstory, right? Where'd this passion come from? How did you get into this fitness world, those kind of things?
Well, I grew up in a health-conscious family. So my father was a professional baseball player for the New York Giants. And so he was always doing exercise at home, and he raised us up with barbells all throughout the backyard and things to do pull-ups on. He took me for my first run at 7 years old. We ran far too long, and I got sick for about 2 weeks. And my mother wasn't too happy about that. My mother, on the other hand, was a health nut before being a health nut was popular. She was into a book called Back to Eden and a lot of late 60s, early 70s health books, and health food stores weren't a popular thing back then, so we had to travel to one. The bread that we got, there were like twigs sticking out of it, and it looked like they shaved a piece of bark off a tree. And needless to say, when I went to school and tried to exchange a lunch with another friend, hey, you want to switch lunches? Nobody wanted my lunch.
You got all the bad looks. Everybody was looking at you funny.
Oh, yeah. I always used to say to my mother, Mom, can we have some Wonder Bread? It looks really good. No, we don't do that. And so she was really ahead of her time. The more I get into nutrition and health, the more I see how cutting edge she was way back then. And so she raised us up eating healthy, basically vegetarians, very little meat, tons of vegetables. I couldn't leave your table before you ate your salad, or a salad at every meal besides other vegetables. And you had to eat all your vegetables. You could leave anything else, the noodles, the rice, anything, but you had to eat your vegetables. Needless to say, my little dog under the table became a vegetarian along with me.
I love it.
There were not 9 kids in the family. And so we all got really into exercise. We're always on the jungle gym in the backyard. We all got involved in running and things like that and eating right. As I grew up, I got involved in a very intense life. I actually became a minister, an inner city minister in inner city Yonkers. And I was a grassroots street type minister for a church. I worked with people on the streets, developed a drug program, developed a kids after school inner city kids programs, summer camps. And I went from about 18 years old to 35, burning the candle at both ends, serving people. At the point towards the end of that time, I had a church in the middle of the inner city. We were pretty much open all the time because we worked with people who were hungry and prostitutes, referring drug addicts to places. And I burnt out, literally burnt out at 35 years old. People used to tell me ministry, this kind of work you should pull out of after 10 years to take a big, long sabbatical. And I never listened to that. And I burnt out. I ended up in a hospital, classic bipolar. They diagnosed me with and spent many months in the hospital recovering. When I got out of the hospital, I had a lot of time. I couldn't work right away. And I got back into what I loved when I was young. I started running. And I started to feel that what they call the runner's high. And it was really, really helping with my depression. I loved to run again. Lost 50 pounds, Bryan. I'm a little guy. I'm not standing up right now, but I'm only 5'3". And 50 pounds on a little guy like me I was a little tubby. And started eating, got back to everything my mother taught me. And of course, at the time, my mother was overjoyed that I was coming back to health. and got back to running, got back in the gym, and was spending so much time in classes and working out and feeling better. I began to get certified and began to sub classes at first, then teach classes. And then before you know it, a couple of years into it, I made a second career out of fitness.
Oh, that's amazing. There was so many key items I took from your story. First and foremost, thank you for sharing that story. One of the things you said was 9 children, right? That your parents
Yeah.
had 9 children. That's a household and then some, if I have to say it. In addition to that is thank you for what you did for the community. I know you burnt yourself out, but I'm sure you had an impact on many people's lives. So we appreciate that. And the story that you shared here and the background of what you went through and the mental insecurities, illness that you went through is I can relate, Artie. My family member also got diagnosed with bipolar, and it was some rocky times, right? It's just definitely some rocky times. That individual was hospitalized. In addition, is they're in a very better position they are in life. They took medicine, they took care of themselves. But it leads me to this is what we're finding more and what I'm hearing more and more is like what you said of I started running. I started this running. It was giving me that runner's high, right? But it was helping me help my mental state. So share with me like how can one's physical state affect their mental state, vice versa, especially as a senior, right?
And many seniors come to me. Seniors are full of loss. They lost many of their family members, brothers, sisters, friends, loss of children, moved away. At one point, they begin to lose the ability to drive, things like a lot of loss in their lives. Seniors are dealing with a lot of depression. And I experienced such a turnaround in my life through exercise that I have a big, hopeful message for them. There's 5 happy chemicals that are invested in our body. They're there. Whether you use them or not, these chemicals are ready to activate. With a sedentary life, these chemicals are more or less like a swamp. They just hang out there and they're not doing much of anything. But when you become active, you could start it with walking every day, pick up little weights, stretch, even stretching, walking, simple things like that begins to push these chemicals through your body. And what I say is these chemicals from being a swamp, they become like a rushing river the more exercise you do, flooding your body, flooding your mind, and literally changing your whole mood. They change your whole mood. It's interesting. 4 of the chemicals, there's dopamine, serotonin. 4 of the chemicals are activated specifically through exercise. You exercise, it happens like a science. You put fire under water, it turns hot. So you exercise, 4 of these happen. One of the happy chemicals, rather, called oxytocin. And this oxytocin, it's called the love chemical. And what it does is it's stirred up by community. When someone says hi to you, shakes your hand or a fist bump, looks you in your eye, gives you a smile, this oxytocin is stimulated in us. So what I say is not only is the exercise going to change your mood and fill you with happy chemicals, but the community that you come into when you exercise. So I have classes in 6 different sites. We jam pack them full of seniors, and some of the happiest times are when I say during a cardio, usually walk around and say hi to somebody. And I tell you, I have to reel them in after that. Because they just go off. They could go off for 10 minutes laughing and talking, 50, 75 people walking around saying hi. And that experience right there is releasing that special chemical from the community. Altogether, a fitness program will transform your life and your mood. As far as depression, it will really help you to recover from that.
The visualization you just shared with me was amazing. I have these 5 different things in my body that just sit in this swamp, but if I don't use them, they're not being cycled through my body. But once I start exercising, what that exercise does, it moves it into the river and gets them flushing through your body, your fingertips, your mind, everything, and you can feel it. It makes you feel happy because I can relate. A week or 2 ago, I had taken off like 2 days and didn't work out. After that second, third morning, I woke up and I go, why do I feel like this? I'm groggy. I'm not here. That's the same thing. I go, oh, I need to exercise. And
Those
at lunch,
chemicals.
I went and exercised. I felt so much better. So I've never heard that visualization of it before, but I think that was huge for the listeners and the viewers out there. Just says, get the river flowing, right? Get that
Yeah.
river flowing, get
Yeah.
those things moving through your body. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the common things that physically or mental issues seniors come to you to work on? What are some of those common things you're seeing?
Unfortunately, many seniors come to me by doctor's order. I got to be honest. The men feel like they're in the garden, they're pushing the mower, they're cutting the hedges, exercising. The wife goes out to all the classes. And so it's a hard sell to men. And so where we start getting the men is the doctor basically says that you need to get moving in a consistent way, cardio, you need to do some strength exercises in many cases, or you're going to die. You need to get moving. Your heart is fragile. You need to build it up. It's a muscle. You need to build it up. So many of the men come to me because of the heart issue, and women too. A lot of other ailments because of not having balance. They have fallen. And so the doctor says you need to get into a balance class. Our class is called Balance and Motion, BAM, we call it for short. And we have a big segment on balance. A lot of individuals come in because they've had a fall and the doctor wants them to work on their balance. Other issues, operations. Now they went through physical therapy and the physical therapist wants them to continue their exercise. Every physical therapist in town refers them to me after they go through physical therapy because they know they're going to get a safe and effective. That's a lot like physical therapy in a group form. So a lot of them come from ailments. Now, but here's the other thing. Some don't come because of ailments. Some come because they went to their granddaughter's wedding and when the DJ started the music, they got on the dance floor and they found out after a half a song, they were so pooped. They had to sit down. And it's their mind wanted to dance. They wanted to get out there and boogie, but it's just they couldn't do it. And seniors come to me very often. Probably the biggest reason they come to me is I'm feeling weakness in my body. I went to put up things in my closet and I just couldn't lift it anymore. Men too, like I was working around the garage and I was trying to lift. I just couldn't lift. I'm getting weaker. I don't have endurance like I used to. I want to work in the garden and I poop out after 10 minutes. And so a lot of it is because their life quality is getting less and they want a better quality of life. They want to keep moving. They want to dance on the dance floor at their great granddaughter's wedding. They want to work in the garden. They want to walk through BJ's or one of these box stores, Costco's. Boy, you need some endurance to shop in one of those stores. They're like a football field. And so anyway, a lot of them come because they just see their body declining and changing and they want it to stop. They want to live. They have things to do in life. They have bucket list things to do.
Yeah. So I heard men are stubborn and you
Yes.
better watch out for the electric slide. No, but joking aside, you talked about that the importance of balance and motion. You call it BAM. Can you elaborate a little bit on that some more?
Sure. I started focusing on seniors when a Parkinson's individual came to one of my regular classes. Now, this was all age classes, mostly for young women, 30, 40, 50 years old. And a Parkinson's individual came and he couldn't do most of the exercises that I was doing. So I started talking to him and he started feeding me from his physical therapist exercises for balance and exercises for stretching and things like that. And I began to incorporate them into my workout, and lo and behold, I started getting more and more seniors until that was my major population. And so wherever I went, wherever I moved these classes, seniors would begin to come out because we have an element of balance. You go to a gym, and many times, I'm not against gyms. Gyms are awesome. My life was recovered through getting back to the gym. But a lot of times for seniors, they go to the gym and there's two options that they have pretty much. They get on a cardio machine for the suggested 20 to 30 minutes and they work their cardio. And then they do a round on the circuit, on the strength exercise machines. They do a round on the circuit. No exercise for balance, not a lot of stretching. At the end of their session, there's a little corner in the gym. It's hardly ever inhabited by anybody. And that's the stretch zone. And they'll go in there and they'll do 3 minutes of stretching and that's it. And so what we do, we put in the elements that are lacking in the gym experience into our class. Elements like balance. You need to work on your balance because just like your muscles are disintegrating and the mass of the muscles is becoming less, the ability to balance is becoming less. That deteriorates as well. Stretching, we're getting tighter and our body is closing in on itself to the point where if seniors don't deal with it, they start walking hunched over. What we need is daily stretching, opening up the chest, opening up the pectoral muscles, stretching them out. A quick response. We work on quick response. If you're going to drive into your 70s, 80s, and 90s on these streets right now, these streets, I don't know about where you're living, but in Palm Coast, Florida, these streets are quick. In New York, our 45 miles per hour was set for a parkway. You went on a parkway. These are regular streets with driveways that are 45 miles per hour to stores going in and out, people coming in. And you just go into a Publix parking lot, you need some quick response because people are pulling out, pulling in everywhere, turning around. They're right in your face at one point. So I say to seniors, you got to work on quick response. And so we will do exercises for quick response. Agility. You want to get off of the cruise ship in port. The steps aren't too great and they're very high and they're very long and you want to go up steps and you want agility. You got to work on agility. So we include all the elements for the maturing body. The maturing body needs more than just strength and cardio. The maturing body needs balance. It needs quick response. It needs a whole lot of stretching. It needs exercises to stir the happy chemicals up and things like that.
Yeah. You don't have to tell me twice about driving in Palm Coast, Florida. We have an office in Palm Coast, Florida. So you nailed it on the head. And you're right, that quick response. But there's a huge correlation of muscles and balance, right? If you let your muscles have that atrophy to them and you start losing them, it's the correlation of I'm going to lose some of my balance along the way also. So keeping them both together healthy is the way to go.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that because the people that are specifically coming to me for balance, we do a full body workout and they're like, why are we doing strength exercises? And why are we doing cardio? And it's all involved with balance. One of the major reasons for people falling is because of weak legs. They lose the strength in their legs. And as a part of balance, you need strong legs. So we do exercises specifically to get those legs strong. We do exercises just like standing up from a seat, up and down from a seat. 2 rounds of 8, standing up from a seat will strengthen those legs, simple exercises like that. And we want the whole body to be strong. We want your heart to be strong. As a result, balance comes in with the whole picture of getting fit. Full body workouts, top to bottom, everything being functional. In other words, what we use today, what we're doing today in fitness class, you're going to be able to use tomorrow in putting things up in your closet and getting down below your sink to get the medicine and stuff out from underneath your sink. And it's fully functional so you move better in life.
Yeah, I love it. And I was watching a documentary on a thing called the Blue Zone, which you might have heard of before.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's an amazing documentary. It's people around the world in these certain zones that live longer. And one thing that was crucial in those blue zones is balance. When they sat down to eat, they weren't sitting in the dinner table chairs like we traditionally sit. A lot of them sat on the floor. So their core was a lot stronger because they're getting up from the floor all the way up to a standing position instead of sitting in that chair to a standing position. So one of the things they attributed to longer life in this blue zone theory was core strength and muscle strength of continuing to have that associated with the balance there.
Yeah, as we get older in America, many times we make everything easier and easy for us. Our movements become minimal. We take things that were high up, but we put them on shelves. We take everything out of the counter underneath and put it where we need it. We have a button to turn this on, a button to turn that off. Now, of course, with Siri or Alexa, everything goes on and you don't have to get up. In fact, there's even a chair that stands you up with a button. You just press the button and a body in motion stays in motion, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. And so we are making life so comfortable that, as you shared in the blue zone, they're sitting on the floor. They're getting up from the floor. We're making life so comfortable that we're not using a lot of our muscles. As a result, we're losing them. A lot of the deterioration, as I study seniors, is not so much from the body deteriorating year after year. It's because of inactivity. We're becoming less active. And that's why the big decline happens in our body. Again, the aging process and other things where the muscle degenerates happens just little at a time, little at a time. But what happens is because we're just sitting around and we made our life easy with the buttons and the this and the that, and we park as close as we can. We fight for those spots close to the store as possible. Hey, park as far as possible and walk to the store, things like that. And so a lot of our deterioration over 60 is because of inactivity. Stay active. So you need strength exercises. If you don't have strength, the body almost has a mind of its own. If you're not doing strength exercises, the body thinks you're done. You're no longer lifting. You're no longer raising children. You're no longer having to do the thing. The body thinks you're done. And guess what it does? It just disintegrates. Even your bones begin to disintegrate. But when you start holding weights in your hands, one of the biggest testimonies of our seniors are from their bone density scans. Their bones are getting more and more dense as they get older. They're becoming more dense because they're lifting weights. And they're doing stretch band exercises and standing up and down in their seats and building their muscle. So inactivity is a culprit.
I love it. And I think mindset plays into it too. Like I always tell myself, as long as I'm able to walk, I better enjoy it. In addition, is if I'm in a building where there's an elevator and it's 3 or 4 stories up, I'm going to take the stairs every time. So let's just say
That's beautiful.
I'm a senior and you know what? I've been slacking. I've been slacking. I haven't been working out. I haven't been doing the right things here. What are some simple routines or exercises I can start doing if I haven't been that active?
Okay, so the first thing to start doing is walking. Walking is miraculous. After my surgical operation, after my cervical operation, the doctor told me, day one after the operation, I want you to start walking. Walking. He says, I want you walking every day. Walk twice a day if you can. Now, I'm actually in line for another operation in my back, and he told me the recovery time. He says, this is a different doctor. On day one after the operation, I want you walking. There's miraculous power in walking. So the first thing you want to do, you want to get back into health, fitness, you've been slacking, you have some time, walk, go out for walks. Hey, if you have a dog, lucky pup, give him an extra walk a day. When you walk, carry something in your hands, 2 water bottles or little tiny weights or 2 cans of peas, and move those arms while you're walking. You'll be doing strength exercise and cardio at the same time. Walking is a miracle exercise. Another thing that you should start doing is stretching. Stretching is natural, I call it. Our little putty cats and our little dogs, when you call them over to you, what do? They gotta get up off of their lazy nap, and what do?
Yeah, they're stretching across the carpet.
That's where we get the down dog from in yoga, that term. Stretching is a natural animal stretch. We need to stretch every day. And stretching is a personal thing. Anything that feels good that's going to extend your arms or stretch your back, and stretching is a natural. Start stretching every day. Now, you're going to need at least 2 days a week of strength exercises. And there's no one, we all know that strength exercises, over the shoulders, bicep curls and things. But I would like to say, if someone who's listening would like to get a demonstration, my book, Because You Have a Bucket List, in the back, there's a website that you go to, or you could just scan it, and you could get, with this book, purchase of a book, a free video to demonstrate all those strength exercises you need to do at least twice a week. You need strength exercises. And then balance. Here's something that's so simple you could do for balance, and you could incorporate it in your day. And I'm going to give you something to remember it by. Every time you go to brush your teeth, you're there twice a day, right? Here's a solid sink right there. After you finish brushing your teeth, you have something to do, and it'll take you less than a minute. Touch lightly the sink and put 1 foot in the air. and then start picking your fingers off the sink one at a time and balance. In the beginning, you might have to have both hands, every finger lightly touching, but eventually you could take one finger off each hand, two fingers, and eventually you'll be just one little pinky on the sink there, supporting yourself, and then eventually no hands, but keep your hands close. Do it with your eyes open for 8, 10, 15 seconds, whatever you want, then do it with your eyes closed. You take away that sensory from the brain, and the brain has to work harder to communicate with the body to correct the sways. And so it makes your brain work harder when you close your eyes. Then do it the other foot. Eyes open, fingers lightly on the sink. Try 8, 10 seconds, eyes closed. Every time you brush your teeth, it literally will take 30 seconds to do that, right? And incorporate that, and that will work your balance. Balance is a mind-body thing, needs repetition. You do that every day. That one simple balance exercise, in 3 months, I guarantee you, your balance will develop and become better. So these are little things you could do. The walking, get stretching. You got to do 2 days a week of strength exercises. Again, the video on my website, I have more videos you could get. We'll give you a whole beautiful demonstration of the exercises you could do. You probably know them anyway. Try to get twice a week and then work that balance exercise. 30 seconds every single day, and it could protect you from a fall. And as we're older, when we fall, it's the number one reason for seniors to go to the emergency room. Every second a senior falls. So we need to really work on that. And that one little exercise every day will help tremendously.
Artie, those statistics you just shared with us are eye-opening. But you gave us a 30-second to 60-second thing we can do after we brush our teeth to work on our balance every day. Think about that. Could you spare an extra 30 to 60 seconds? You brush your teeth probably twice a day. Some people probably do 3 times. But if you think about it, that's nothing, right? We spend 30 seconds trying to turn on Alexa because you can't hear us. So spend the 30 seconds working on your balance.
Yeah.
So you talked about the book, right? Because you have a bucket list book. If the readers and the listeners are going to look into your book, what are they going to get from that? And what was the purpose behind you writing this?
The purpose behind, I've been working with seniors for 20 years. And I just have so many great testimonies of lives changing. People come literally, they line up before and after class to tell me testimonies. So first of all, you're going to see live testimonies in the book, and with picture and everything of these individuals whose lives are changing. But I wanted to put my whole vision of these special exercises that the maturing body needs. And I believe it's something that people need to know about, that just going to a gym isn't good enough. You need to give the maturing body what it needs. My whole 20 years of experience is in this book, and the whole vision is getting you as fit as you could possibly be at any age, mind you, so you could do everything you want to do for as long as you possibly could do it. That's the bottom line vision for the book. I want you to be able to do everything on your bucket list. That's because we all have bucket lists. And sometimes, sadly, people have shelved their bucket list and just are surviving. I don't want you to just survive. I want you to thrive. I want your golden years to be the best years ever. And the only way you could do that is if you're healthy, if you're functional, if you can move. You move better, you'll live better. It's your whole vision of health and wealth. You could have all the wealth in the world, but if you don't have your health, that wealth will be squandered. You won't be able to live out your dreams and vision. You need the health along with the wealth to really, truly enjoy life. And I guess that's my vision, to help people to be as fit as possible so they could do everything they want to do for as long as they could do it. And you're going to find I have a senior-centric vision for instance, cardio. I have a whole chapter on cardio. Cardio, when we were younger, we did it to lose weight, right? To drop pounds. That was our main vision. 30 minutes is the maximum calorie burn. But now we do cardio for heart health. It's like the heart doing chin-ups and push-ups. We want our heart to stay strong, right? Because that's one of the concerns as we're getting older. We're concerned about our heart. We do cardio for heart health. Another reason why we do it is so we can dance longer on the dance floor at our granddaughter's wedding. And we could walk through the box store. We do cardio for stamina, for endurance. We do cardio to make us happy because it's the number one exercise to stir those happy chemicals. And there's a lot of loss in my life. So I need to exercise to keep my mood positive and up. So every aspect of exercise, I filter it through a senior-centric vision of why we do it. We do strength exercises, not just so we could look strong, and it's went beyond a cosmetic thing to look good. We do our strength exercises because we got to lift that box up in our closet to the top. We got to do these regular things, carry our groceries in from outside. We have things to do, so we're getting strong to do things. We practice our balance, not so we could do some sort of amazing yoga exercise to show off for people how balanced we are. We do our balance exercises so we don't fall. That's why we're doing balancing. So everything goes through the filter of why we do it as a senior. So that's what my book is filled with. Why are we exercising as seniors? What is it going to do specifically for this maturing body? I have a whole chapter in there on depression, because that's something that I've dealt with personally. I have a lot to say about it, and seniors need it. And it's actually one of the most commented chapters when people come and give me a review. They love that chapter on the depression. They thank me so much for that. There's a whole chapter here on nutrition. I heard my mother speaking while I wrote that chapter. I heard her getting all happy and tickled when I talked about water, drinking water. My mother thought that was the holy grail of life, drinking water. And I talk about that, the power of water, the power of vegetables. And my mother always used to boast about her father, who taught her how to eat healthy. In Sicily, would write her and say, he boasted that he never went to a doctor in his life. And he would say, I got sick and I ate the fruit. That's what my grandfather said. I got sick and I ate the fruit. And so there's power, healing power in food. And so you eat right and it heals you. God gives us these natural ways to heal ourselves through exercise and through eating right. And it's all here in this book. Another chapter that I have is Parkinson's, because that's something that's happening more and more. We're finding out about more and more of our relatives or friends having Parkinson's. People are just more aware of it, maybe, and we're talking about it more. There's better procedures and medicines. And so I do a whole chapter, and I talk about my lovely client, Phil, who I've worked with for 20 years and walked through this Parkinson's experience with him. And every time he would go twice a year to Shands Hospital to get checked, head to toe, psychologically, everything. And they said, whatever you're doing, and they accredited to the exercise, keep doing it. And they would send me back with all said, you're doing great. Keep exercising with Phil. Here's some other exercises you could try with him. And they kept him exercising, kept him alive, kept him functioning really well through those exercises. And yeah, there's a lot there for the senior.
That's great. And the saying goes is a healthy man has 1,000 wishes, right? But a sick man only has one wish, and it's to get healthy, right?
Wow.
So if you think about it, is the goal here is health is wealth and wealth is health. And if you don't have your health, all the money in the world means nothing to you. There's no doubt about it. I can hear in your voice and how you're articulating the passion for the book that you've written. Now, the main question is, where can the listeners and the viewers get a hold of your book?
Okay, so first of all, if you want to just go on Amazon, Because You Have a Bucket List by Artie Gardella. Just type that in and on Amazon and you'll see it pop up on Amazon by Artie Gardella. Also, you could go to my website, synergyseniorfitness.com. You could get some videos there. You could buy some videos there. There's a couple of links you could buy. One of them comes free with the book. You get the book and you get a whole demonstration video. Others are classes that I've taught that I really like that I packaged together that people could purchase the link on my website, synergy.com. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, Artie G Fit, or Artie G on Facebook, I'm always throwing out little gems and keys on fitness, little things you could do to keep yourself healthy. Little things, I call it stealing your exercises. If you're busy, you have to steal your exercise, right? So while you're sitting in the car at a red light, belly pulls. That works your core. Pull that belly into the spine. Try to get 30 belly pulls before the light turns green. So I do little things like that. I call them bucket bits. I do on my Facebook and my Instagram. So follow me on there as well, and you'll get some good stuff.
Right when you said belly pulls, Artie, my instant reaction was to do the belly pull.
Oh.
I just did it with you right at the same time. So I love it. So we could get it Amazon, your website, and a bunch of great resources. Your time has been valuable. This has been an amazing podcast that I appreciate. But the one last question I have for you is, if you had one message to deliver to the world, what would it be?
Life is short, man. Life is so short. As you get older, it seems to go quicker. And we have things we want to do. We want to love. We want to explore. We want to travel. We want to see things. You have a bucket list of things to do. And I want you to be able to fulfill all of them. I want you to be able to check off. And so I encourage you, I implore you, get healthy. And again, it doesn't have to be join a gym. You could do so many things at home. Just get walking, get stretching, pick up some weights, pick up 2 cans of peas, start moving them around in your house. Get inspired by my book. I guarantee you this, my book will inspire you. It'll give you a stirring to want to get healthy. But life goes by so fast. If not now, when? Let's get healthy. Let's get fit. Let's get as fit as you possibly can at any age. You're 80 years old. You could get as fit as you possibly can at 80 years old and do the things you desire to do before this life is through.
Turn your swamps into rivers with Artie G.
I like that.
Hey, greatly appreciate your time, buddy, as always. Exciting. Hope to talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Holistic Wealth and Health Podcast. We hope we inspired you to make changes so you can live your best life. If you want to find out more about what we do, or if you want to have a holistic wealth and health financial plan, please call 456-833-7000. Please subscribe to the podcast and share it widely with your friends and family. Financial planning and advisory services are offered through Prosperity Capital Advisors, PCA, an SEC-registered investment advisor with its principal place of business in the state of Ohio. J.L. Smith Holistic Wealth Management and PCA are separate, non-affiliated entities. PCA does not provide tax or legal advice. Insurance and tax services offered through J.L. Smith Holistic Wealth Management are not affiliated with PCA. Information received from this podcast should not be viewed as individual investment advice. Product discussions and illustrations are hypothetical in nature and will vary based on many factors, including, but not limited to, age, health, product, insurance carrier, and product design. You should consult the insurance carrier website and policy for detailed information. For information pertaining to the registration status of PCA, please contact the firm or refer to the Investment Advisor Public Disclosure website, www.advisorinfo.sec.gov. For additional information about PCA, including fees and services, send for our disclosure statement as set forth on Form ADV from PCA using the contact information herein. Please read the disclosure statement carefully before you invest or send money.